Hey guys, this is Third Generation Conjure coming back with another video. This time we're going to do a 2020 reading for the Capricorns. So I just want to give a little background into 2020. This is a year of devotion. It is a year for setting the groundwork for anything that you want to grow, any kind of enterprises that you're starting. It's a year of harvest. Also, the year 2020, we have a lot of people who are going through a spiritual awakening process. So there are going to be a lot of people throughout the world, going through an awakening process. I just like to give a little background of the decks that I'm reading from. This is the Well-Worn Path deck. I use this deck because it gives more spiritual aspects. And we also, I'm going to read from the Rider-Waite deck, which is a deck that a lot of tarot readers use. And if you don't know who we are a spiritual company. We specialize in powders, baths, oils, candles. We also do readings on the shop as well. And we do have an Etsy shop that we sell from. I'm going to leave the link in the description below. But we'll go ahead and get started and we'll pull some cards. And we'll be right back. All right, guys, if you'll give me a second, I'm going to get with my ancestors, and we'll be right back to interpret these cards. All right, Capricorn, so we're going to go ahead and get into your reading. So we're going to discuss 10 different aspects of your year. The first one we're going to start with is your present. So for the present, we have the Harvest, and we have Nine of Swords. All right, so Harvest is all about the fruit of your labor. It's about personal effort that has been exerted and things that are coming back. So your hard work paying off. So a lot of you within the sign are seeing some results from some of the work that you have put in. And most Capricorns, they are very ambitious. They're very hard workers. They sometimes overwork themselves. But a lot of you right now is seeing, some return on some hard work that you have put in, whether that's with a business, whether that's with a job. You're seeing some type of results. It also can represent a completion of a matter, something that you have going on, or some kind of situation. And also in the present, we have the Nine of Swords. Okay, so the Nine of Swords is typically referred to as the nightmare card. Okay, it represents sleepless nights, but that can be sleepless nights from, you working hard. It can also represent insomnia and also feeling under the weather. So, it is flu season, so you may have, some kind of illness going on. It could also represent for women some female health problems. So just be cognizant of that. And it could also represent problems with your stomach. Okay, so, some of those within the sign may be experiencing some of those issues. It can also represent some accusations coming to the forefront, someone accusing you of something as well. And necessarily, sometimes it may not even represent you in particular, but a lot of times this card can represent a woman that's around you that's suffering, that you may need to pay attention to and help out. Because as you see, there's a woman holding her head in despair, and there's 9 swords in the background. So, if you got some women in your life that may be going through some kind of depression or something, just make sure that you pay attention to them, okay? All right, and the next card, next aspect that we're going to discuss are your challenges. So your upcoming challenges for this year. And looking at these two cards, Capricorn, it looks like you need to get your energy together. So we have the Key, and we also have the Eight of Swords, so another Swords card. Okay, so what the Eight of Swords represents is an oppressive environment. You may be stuck in a situation, a job, a relationship where you feel like you're blocked in and you can't move. Okay, it can also represent having lack of confidence. Also, self-induced unhappiness or negative feelings that may hinder your production. And with the key is the opener of your own ways. Okay, so you have the ability to accomplish whatever you set your mind to accomplish, but your energy has to be right. Okay, so with these two cards, negative energy is a key component that you may have some challenges with this year. So just make sure that you pay attention and be aware of that. All right, so then the next aspect, excuse me, that we're going to discuss is your underlying root. So your underlying root of what's influencing your year. Okay, so then for this, we have the Wand, and we also have the King of Pentacles. You give me a second, I'm going to adjust my light so there won't be any kind of shadows. Okay, so the King of Pentacles and the Wand. Okay, so what the King of Pentacles, we'll start with this one. What this represents, it represents wealth. It represents money in the bank, status, acclaim. You know, you may be this year preoccupied with financial matters. So that's an underlying root. Finances is going to be a main theme for you this year and something that you're focusing on. And with this, the Wand, this represents communication, you know, communication on all levels. So there may be some things that you need to communicate about this year. It also represents new opportunities that will bear fruit, you know, the power of manifestation. And that's, you know, your underlying root of what's going on this year. Okay, so then the next aspect that we're going to discuss is going to be how you appear. So how you appear to others, how you appear throughout this year. Okay, for this we have the Reed, and we have the Two of Wands. Okay, so the Two of Wands represents completing the first stage of a project. So you may be, if you're starting anything, any kind of business or anything, you may be in the, you know, the first stage of completing something or getting something off the ground. It also represents ambitions. And, you know, as I previously stated, a lot of Capricorns are very ambitious. So, you know, this is how you appear and how you appear to others. Very ambitious. It also represents unfulfilled potential. So you may not be putting all of your talents to use. You know, you may have some potential for, you know, something greater that you're not capitalizing on as well. And this also signifies success through hard work and an enterprising person. Also can signify some traveling. So, you know, a lot of you within this sign may be doing some traveling or some moving around this year. Okay, so then we have the Reed. All right, so with the Reed, this is a card of ethics and integrity. You know, so you may appear, you know, that you're showing ethics and you're showing integrity. However, this card does advise you to hold on to your principles despite how others are treating you. And it does caution that not to develop a mindset that you can do whatever you want long as it's not causing anyone any physical harm. You know, so just be aware of that. You know, that's not always, you know, how things work out. You know, just because it's not physically harming somebody might not be that it's the right thing to do. So pay attention to your ethics and your integrity, especially with business matters this year. All right, so then the next aspect that we're going to discuss is your influencing aspect. So what's influencing your year this year? And with this, we have the Chariot, and we also have, I got this upside down, Summerlin. Okay, so what the Chariot represents, it represents self-assertion. It can represent single-mindedness. It also represents as another card of ambition. It represents travel, you know, and it advises you to go with the flow. Okay, so then we have, and I said that was Summerlin. That's Voice of the Wind. I'm sorry. We have Voice of the Wind. I'm looking at Summerlin up here, but Voice of the Wind. Okay, so what Voice of the Wind represents is a card of direction. It's a card of higher calling. It's also a card of guidance. And that's going to be some of your influencing aspects this year. A lot of you are going to be looking for a higher calling, looking for your purpose in life. And once again, the guidance is guidance beyond the worldly sphere. So, you know, a lot of you may be stepping out of the box and, you know, embarking on your journey into your spirituality, you know, and working with things to manipulate the universe, becoming an alchemist. Okay, so that's an influencing aspect this year. All right, so then the next aspect that we are going to talk about are your aspirations and concerns. So what are some things that you aspire for the year? What are some things that you're concerned about? So we have the maiden and we have the star. Okay, so the maiden is all about boundless energy. The maiden is about new beginnings. It's a card of new beginnings, a card of a new life. So you may be desiring some changes, you know, within career. It may be love matters. You know, you're desiring some kind of change. You're aspiring for some kind of change, or you may be fearful of change. But most of them, you know, I believe, you know, you're looking to change some kind of aspect of your life and start a new beginning. All right, so then we have the star. The star is all about communication, as this card here represented. So there's going to be something with communication that you're going to be desiring, or something that you may be concerned about with communication aspects. It also represents those who want fame, success, recognition, promotion at work. Those are some, you know, some aspects that you aspire for this year. Okay, so then the next aspect that we're going to discuss is your probable course. So a course that most of you within this zodiac sign may take within this year. And for this card, we have the Six of Cups, and we also have Summerlin. All right, so with the Six of Cups, this represents nostalgia. It also represents, it can represent a new job, a new, you know, a rekindling of a love relationship. It could also represent dealings with children. So, you know, they may influence your ear if you have children, or you may, you know, have your first child this year, but it's going to be some kind of dealings with children that may influence a lot of people within this sign today. I mean, within this year. And it also represents a change of residence. So, you know, it may be a move, you know, a move that you may be considering. As with the Chariot that you had, this represented moving. So, you know, if you're thinking about a move, that may be a you know, course that you take this year as well. All right, and this card is Summerlin. Okay, so what Summerlin represents is really the most spiritual enlightenment card in this deck. Okay, so what this represents is change, and it advises that change will happen and it will not be optional. Okay, so you know, what this card tells us is new eyes will see greater ways. Is moving towards spiritual enlightenment. So a lot of people in the sign will be going through a spiritual awakening process this year. Okay, so then the next we have is an alternative course. So another course that many in this sign may take. And here we have the Sun, and we also have the King of Wands. All right, so the King of Wands is all about inspiration. It's about using your creativity. It's also about being optimistic and developing an optimistic attitude. And also is a card of motivation. Developing motivation, becoming more motivated, and accomplishing your goals. And with this card, the Sun, it's the same as the Maiden. It's all about new beginnings. I mean, it's not the same, but it has the same aspects. It's all about new beginnings, and it advises you to draw on physical and mental energy. And this is also a card of fertility, as this Six of Cups represented dealings with children. So a lot of people within this sign may be, you know, having children this year. If you don't have any, or, you know, you may have more children this year. But it is a good card for fertility. Okay. So then next we have your outcome. So your outcome for this year. And here we have hand fasting, and we also have the Two of Swords. Okay, so with the Two of Swords, this is a card, I mean, it looks kind of scary, but it's really not. It can represent quarrels with other parties. It can also represent you suppressing your emotions. And a lot of times too, it could represent someone around you who is blind to any of your faults. You know, they think that you are perfect. okay? But it's also a card of balance and patience, and tells you to go with the flow. You know, and it also tells you to protect your emotions and remain calm. As I stated, you know, with the cards in the previous thing with the Eight of Swords as well, you know, keep your emotions in check, okay? And everything will work out. All right, so then we have hand fasting. And once again, this is the outcome for this year. Hand fasting is a card of marriage. Not always marriage, but it's also a card of close relationships. It can be business partnerships. It can be love relationships. But it does signify marriage. So a lot of those within the sign may be, you know, jumping the broom this year. But also with this card is the blossoming of a new life. So you guys are striving for some new beginnings, as with the Maiden card as well. So it is a card of new beginnings as well, and blossoming of a new life. It's also a card of completion, as you know, we previously stated. So some kind of completion of a matter. Okay, so then lastly, we have what can change this outcome. So what can change the outcome of you blossoming into this new life, and you know, all of that. So here we have the Wheel of the Year, and we have Strength. All right, so with the Wheel of the Year, this card tells you to acknowledge whatever condition you're in or situation you're in, and be in harmony with it. And if you know, if you don't do that, then you're going to develop some negative energy, and yeah, you're going to change whatever kind of outcome, you know, that may come about, as far as, you know, any kind of changes that you want in your life. All right. And then we have also Strength. And with the Strength card, this represents harmony. It represents having strength and remaining strong in, you know, adverse situations. And also, I do want to point back with this Wheel of the Year card, this reminds you that nothing is permanent and everything works in cycles. So, you know, you can either embrace what's going on, or you can become victim. But, you know, as a lot of people within the sign, they are very optimistic. So I don't think many will take that type of path. But that is it. So I will start doing some more informational videos, maybe some weekly readings as well. So just stay tuned for that. And you can follow our Instagram. Instagram is Third Generation Conjure. You can also like us on Facebook at Third Generation Conjure. I have left our link in the description below for any kind of spiritual products, any kind of readings. You can visit our Etsy shop. It's www.thirdgenerationconjure.store. And thank you guys for tuning in. If you can just like and subscribe to this video. Until next time, bye-bye.